If there's one thing I can say is a flex for me, it's my hosting skills. When it comes to the holidays, I feel like most people just get overwhelmed just at the thought of all of the holiday parties and gatherings that they're gonna be invited to, let alone plan and execute one of their own. And that could not be me, sis. Something I've spent the last few years developing and in fact being proud of are my hosting skills. The ability to turn my home into a welcoming environment that I'll fill with love, warmth, and create memories with some of my most beloved friends is something I have quite literally dreamt about since before I even moved out of my mother's house years ago. And I'm so blessed to say that this is something I've actually been able to achieve since living on my own these last few years. And not to mention cooking. Oh my God. In fact, if there is one life goal that I have achieved, it's cooking a fire Thanksgiving turkey. Like, no one is less afraid of cooking a damn Thanksgiving turkey than me. In fact, I look forward to it every year without fail. I cannot wait for November. I can't wait to go to the store and pick out that perfect Thanksgiving turkey, prep it, brine it, cook it, and above all, serve it to my friends and watch their faces light up as they realize, oh, this is better than anything my family has ever cooked. And those are actually real compliments I've gotten. So sit down, grab a notebook, grab your Notion workspace if that's what you prefer, and grab your damn apron. Because besties, I'm about to share with you all of my secrets to being a great holiday host and how you can plan and execute your own holiday party or dinner this year, no matter your budget. Hey besties, welcome back to my channel and happy holiday season. We are in the midst of holiday season as I'm filming this intro. But for this video, I'd actually like to hop in the time machine and go back in time real quick with you to November 25th, the day of my third annual friendsgiving. Y'all, this dinner is something so special and personal to me. I look forward to it literally every year. And I'm so pleased to report that this year was another smashing success. Literally since before I even moved out of my mother's house a few years ago, I dreamt of the day I'd be able to move out into my own place and host holiday dinners and parties for myself and my friends and just create a warm, happy space for us to be together. I know the holidays aren't always the happiest of times for everyone, and if you're a part of the LGBT plus community like I am, you know this feeling all too well. Sometimes the people you come home to during the holidays don't feel like family, regardless of whether they're your relatives or not, because maybe they aren't open and accepting of who you truly are and they don't support you being your true authentic self. These feelings are what led me to want to start hosting Friendsgiving dinners and holiday parties for me and all of my friends, to just give everyone the chance to experience that warmth and happiness and light that the holidays should exude, so that even if we have to go home to conservative relatives who we can't really be our true selves around, we'll still have the memories we created together and we can hold on to those through these cold, chaotic few months that is the holiday season. And I'll be so honest with you, these traditions that I've created, particularly this Friendsgiving tradition, are truly the highlight of my holiday. And it makes me so happy to be able to bring people into my home and that we got to share even just a night with each other, enjoying each other's company and having fun and getting to escape the chaos of working full-time as a customer service worker on Black Friday, having to deal with relatives coming in town that just maybe you don't like, or maybe they don't accept you for who you are, or even the big sad. She comes every winter like clockwork with daylight savings time. When it starts getting darker out, it's so hard to stay happy and hopeful and not get sad sometimes when you just never see the sun anymore. And for me, this tradition has truly helped keep me in good spirits every holiday season, and it brings me something to look forward to. And I'm so excited to finally have a platform to share these tips and tricks with you guys on how to create and plan your own holiday party this season. Whether you want it to be a full-blown dinner like I do, or you just want a small little get-together, I hope you can take some of these ideas and use them and make them your own this holiday season and plan some get-togethers with your friends. Because honestly, if you're not doing Friendsgivings or any kind of holiday get-togethers with your friends this year, again, mental health permitting, I know we all get the big sad, but I highly encourage it if you can. Because I promise, party planning doesn't have to be nearly as costly or stressful as it seems from the outside. So there's 3 phases we're gonna split this into, and that's planning, prepping, and execution. Let's hop right into the first one, which is planning. So in the planning phase, you're gonna wanna make some lists. The first being your guest list, obviously. Consider how many people specifically that you want to invite to this party. If you're like me and you plan on cooking a large turkey or another large dinner that may take more than a day to prep and cook, you'll want an exact number or an almost exact number of your guests who plan on being there and will be partaking in the dinner. Something else to consider in this part of the planning is the where. Are you able to host it at your house or apartment? Or is there another place you'd rather host it if you're worried about space or noise complaints from your neighbors? For me personally, I always host my parties here at my apartment. apartment, even though it is kind of a small apartment. Because personally, I just feel like that adds to the charm of having a small apartment. It just kind of adds to the vibe. I don't really know how to explain it. And besides, my building's noise curfew is 10 p.m. so I've never really had a problem with any sort of noise complaints or anything from my neighbors. It's gonna vary based on where you live. So check those little details beforehand, especially if you are someone like me who lives in an apartment building and you may have people on the other side of the wall from you and your friends that can hear you. You know, just be considerate. If you find that you're unable to host the party or dinner at your place, either because you live with your parents or maybe you have roommates who just aren't comfortable with having that many people over in their house, consider asking one of your friends on the guest list if they'd be willing to offer up their space. Of course, offer to come over beforehand, especially if you need to come over and utilize their kitchen to prep the dinner, and also stay behind after to clean up and take down any decor that you put up, because that's just common courtesy. You're using someone else's space. Take care of it like it's your own. But once you have your guest list down and you know the day and time and location of your party, it's time to make the grocery list. Now I know grocery lists and grocery shopping can be daunting to some people, but lucky for you, I'm someone who loves to grocery shop. So I do have some tips for making grocery shopping for parties less painful and a little more cost effective. First and foremost, make it a potluck event. This is my top tip if you don't have enough time, money, or even energy to cook an entire dinner by yourself. It's no secret that the cost of living has absolutely skyrocketed here in America. So by all means, utilize that potluck strategy and invite some of your friends to bring some of their favorite holiday dishes to the party. My rule of thumb is that I always cook the main dish, being the turkey, and then I ask each individual coming to the party to bring either their favorite side dish or dessert. This not only takes the pressure off of you to cook a giant meal, but it also allows each of your guests to share a part of their own holiday traditions and bring something that maybe they eat every Thanksgiving or Christmas with their family, and now they get to share it with you. My only advice to pair with this is, as the day of the party gets closer, make sure you're keeping track of what everyone is bringing so you can keep in mind what may be missing if you feel like there is a dish you'd like to have that nobody has claimed yet. For instance, at my friendsgiving this year, nobody claimed mashed potatoes. So my boyfriend and I took it upon ourselves to go to the store and buy a few potatoes to make into mashed potatoes because that was something we wanted to have at this Friendsgiving dinner and nobody had claimed it yet. Something else to consider when you are making this grocery list is dietary restrictions. Is anyone coming to your party lactose intolerant and needs some dairy-free sides and alternatives? Is anyone a vegetarian and not going to be able to eat anything with meat in it? Does everyone plan to consume alcohol, or do you have some friends who are going to come and prefer a non-alcoholic beverage? Make sure you're taking all of this into account and considering the needs of all of your guests. Not only is it just considerate, but I promise you won't go underappreciated by your friends and guests that you took the time to think of them and to make sure that they wouldn't feel awkward or uncomfortable having to ask for something without alcohol, or if you had a vegetarian safe option. When it comes to the actual grocery shopping, consider your favorite places that you already grocery shop on the regular. For me, that's Aldi's. Always gonna be Aldi's if I have to be quite honest. Aldi's has incredible prices year round, and this year their Thanksgiving butterball turkeys were only $1.27 a pound, which is a much better option than places like Kroger that can sell those same brands of turkeys for up to $2 a pound. I did end up having to get my turkey from Walmart this year because Aldi's didn't have one in the size I needed, since this year I had to buy a 20-pound turkey, but Walmart was selling them for only $1.28, so it was still a great price. If you can, consider splitting your grocery shopping trip. That is so hard to say. Consider splitting your grocery shopping into 2 trips or stops. I always like to hit Aldi's first, and I will try to get as many things on my list as I can there since they already have really great low prices. Whatever I can't find there, I'll hit my local Walmart or Target for. Phase 2, prepping. Okay, so you have your guest list, you've gone grocery shopping, you have all of this food, you have all these things to cook. Now it's time to start prepping. First and foremost, if you were planning to cook a turkey or any other kind of bird that you had to purchase frozen, know when to thaw it. I'll put a link in the description of this video for the article that I revisit every year that tells me how to thaw, brine, and cook a turkey properly. But the general rule of thumb with turkeys is 24 hours for every 4 pounds of bird. So if you're like me and you get a 20-pound turkey that you want to cook for Christmas this year, you need to give that bird at least 5 days minimum in your refrigerator to thaw. So I'd start eating any of the leftovers that have been sitting in your fridge now, because your dad's that's gonna be a big boy. He's gonna take up a lot of space. But assuming you've already got your bird in the fridge and he has already spent his due time thawing out, it's time to prep him. Prepping a turkey is something that can just be so personal to me, and I'm so excited to share my tips with you on how I like to prep my turkeys for every holiday season. Here's the child. I always start prepping my turkeys the night before the dinner because I like to give him a nice good brine bath. Brining your turkey not only adds more flavor, but it also helps keep your turkey nice and juicy while he's in the oven cooking. You can brine your turkey for as little as 2 hours, but if you can afford to brine him overnight, I highly recommend it. I did go a different route and purchased this Kinder Butcher's brine kit from Sam's this year, but the process was basically the same as every year for me. Bring about 8 cups of water to a boil on the stove, then immediately remove it from the burner and add kosher salt and brown sugar, or the brine seasoning packet in my case. Stir in your apple juice and ice. Now, we're adding ice because we want the brine mixture to cool down before putting the turkey in it so that the heat from the mix doesn't start cooking your turkey prematurely. You do not want that. And also, if it's not cooling down fast enough, feel free to throw that mixture in the fridge for like 30 minutes or so just to cool it down. The main thing is you want it lukewarm or cool. You don't want it hot. Once the brine mix has cooled down, transfer your turkey to a brine bag and pour that brine mix in there with him. As you can see, we tried to squeeze as much air out of the bag as possible before tying the bag to ensure the bird would be as submerged as possible in the brine mix. Then we tied off the top and sent him to the fridge for a long night's rest. So now that the turkey is brining in my fridge, I'm gonna turn my focus to my apartment. I'm glad you did. I had to fucking work. I was about to ask if this is the Kansas City Chiefs.
And then it's always Dallas, and then there's 2 random teams.
Like they always play on that holiday. Like no other team can play on Christmas except for the Dallas Cowboys.
No, not Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Okay, on Thanksgiving. No one else can play on Thanksgiving other than the Dallas Cowboys?
It is tradition that the Detroit Lions play at home at 1 o'clock on Thanksgiving, or actually they play earlier. Always play at home on Thanksgiving, as do the Dallas Cowboys every year.
I have a tradition of hoping Taylor will announce Reputation Taylor's version on Black Friday.
Since today?
Since that's the newest theory, since the 11-10 theory didn't work out, we decided to have a little DIY home improvement moment. As you can see, my living and dining space is not very big. So what we did is rearrange the furniture in a way that would best optimize the floor space and give people enough room to move around. And also keep everyone sitting in some form of a circle so we would all be able to look and talk to each other without having to twist around in a chair. More importantly, get creative with your decorating. This is a great time to bust out any bean bags, floor poofs, extra chairs, anything that your guests can sit on if you feel like there won't be enough chairs to sit in. I don't have a large dining table for everyone to sit at, so I utilized my couch, my recliner, and moved my spare dining chairs accordingly to fit the vibe that I was going for. Once this was accomplished, it was time to decorate. So please enjoy this cozy little montage of my partner Richard and I decorating my apartment and getting it ready for the holidays. And also him being a literal frickin' angel and just doing all of the stuff that I was not tall enough to do while I was on the phone with my dad, who happened to call in the midst of this. Oh fuck, my reindeer. Oh fuck, oh fuck. I love decorating for the holidays, and this year I was even more excited because I purchased an all-new Christmas tree since the lights on my old one died last year. I decided to go the smarter, more cost-efficient route this time, and I just bought an unlit tree and just purchased a separate strand of lights to go on it so that when those eventually die, I just have to buy new lights, not a whole new tree. As you can see, this thing is huge. I definitely got a little excited and went for a 7.5-foot tree since I have very tall ceilings in this apartment, but just a tip for anyone looking to buy a new tree this year, please be mindful of of your ceiling height and if you plan on using a tree topper. I would say 7 feet is the standard size, which leaves enough space at the top for a star or other topper without hitting your ceiling. Okay, it's the next day. It's officially your holiday dinner. It is officially friendsgiving. So let's get this bird and put him in the oven. First, you're gonna wanna preheat your oven to 325 degrees if you are using a standard kitchen oven, and calculate your cooking time. You need about 15 minutes per pound of bird. So for my 20-pound turkey, I ended up cooking it for about 5 hours in the turkey cooker that we borrowed from my boyfriend's mother. I highly recommend calculating this the night before though, so that you know exactly when you need to wake up and start cooking. That way you're not running around last minute realizing you didn't give yourself enough time to cook. After draining the brine mixture out in the sink, I set the turkey down on a clean surface and began pulling out the neck and the giblets and all that good stuff that's inside it. And then I began pulling the skin up from the back of the bird where the anus is. A really big hole. But you're about to see me stick my hands inside a raw turkey, so if that's gonna make you queasy, maybe click off this video or skip forward. Turkey skin is a lot stronger than it looks, so just separate it from the breast meat and start working your hands in there. I went all the way down to the breast meat because now we're gonna stick some butter under that skin. This is one of my top tips to keep the breast meat from getting too dry during the cooking process and keeping the bird nice and juicy, as well as adding some flavor. After inserting the strips of butter throughout the breast meat, I also had my boyfriend make some tiny incisions in the turkey legs as well, so we could stick some butter there. Then I moved on to season the turkey. I would recommend doing this before putting the butter under the skin, because then I was just worried about the butter moving around as I rubbed the dry seasoning on. But honestly, I wasn't thinking at this point. I was just focused on getting this bird in the oven. I dry rubbed him with the seasoning packet that came with the Kinder Brine kit, but feel free to use oil or some melted butter to help the seasoning stick a little better to his skin. Then it was time to stuff him. My usual go-to for stuffing turkeys is actually to take fresh oranges and cut them in half and put them in the cavity of the bird. But we still had a ton of apples in my fridge from our Carter Mountain trip back in October, so we broke some apples in half and shoved those up the turkey's cavity. Then it's time to cook. You can use your regular kitchen oven, but if you have access to one of these turkey cooking ovens, I would definitely recommend using those, because now I still have full use of my oven to finish cooking anything else I have on the menu for today. But if not, it's really no big deal. Please don't feel like you have to go out and buy a turkey oven for this. I had my partner help gently drop the turkey down into the oven, tie back the legs, set the cooking temperature to 325 degrees, covered him up, and let the magic happen. And now do a dance in your kitchen because you managed to get the turkey in the oven 15 whole minutes ahead of schedule. Then about 2 to 3 hours into the cooking process is when I start basting. This is pretty self-explanatory. Just get a baster. This one that I'm using was like $3 from the grocery store. And take the juice that's pooled in the bottom of the pan and redistribute it all over the turkey. I focus heavily on the breast meat when basting, since that's the part of the bird that's more prone to drying out. And I'm also sticking some inside the turkey as well to keep it moist. Oh my God, I'm so sorry I had to use that word. Oh my God, I could not think of another word. I'm so sorry. And if you've made it this far, congratulations, you've made it to the end. Now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, which is enjoying the food and the environment you've created with the people you love most. Unfortunately, I was on a bit of a time crunch the night of the party and was still prepping a few things as my first couple friends arrived. So I actually didn't get a ton of final footage of how everything looked, but
She's looking good.
I'm so glad.
That looks so good right now.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Wow. Here's some footage of me cutting the turkey and some real-time feedback from my friends when they tried it.
God damn. What the fuck, man? Why did you go off that hard? What the fuck?
Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you were able to take some of the tips I shared in this video and apply them to your own holiday get-togethers this year. Thank you again so much for watching, and if you're not subscribed already, I highly recommend you go over to my channel and subscribe and check out some of my other vlogs, because I love filming my silly little life. And with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are in the world. I hope you're all having a wonderful holiday season, and I will catch you on my next video. Bye!